Hello and welcome to the Virtual Healing Circle with me, Jen Fable of LiveLifeUnbroken.com. Today I want to introduce you to a really cool energetic technique known as tiling the temple. Now, for those of you who want to play with energy, who want to do manifestation, who want to work with Reiki or any other kind of channeled energy modality, tiling the temple is the precursor to any kind of energy work, even if that just means journaling. So why is this important? Why is this technique so crucial? When it comes to doing energy work, your goal is to move from the physical realm, up through the emotional, up through the mental, up into the energetic, get that thing that you want to bring into your life, and then bring it down through your bridge back into the physical realm. In order to do this, you need to create a container to hold that energy safely and in a way that doesn't allow it to dissipate or leak out. You also want to make sure you're doing it in a way that doesn't allow outside influences to change your work. And this doesn't necessarily have to mean the oogity boogity vibes from some other person. Sometimes the outside influence that we want to keep out of our work are things like our limiting beliefs or fears. Those thoughts can interfere with our work, and so setting up the space properly helps to ensure that you don't have all that stuff interfering. As well, since your imagination is the key to adding fire to everything, tiling the temple is a practice that is simple enough that you can understand and do easily, and starts to engage your imagination so you can begin to build those muscles. Because when we get up into the higher techniques, using your imagination becomes even more important. So this is where we're going to start to wake up that muscle so you can begin to use it. Remember that in esoteric traditions, the entire goal of any kind of energy work is to bring something down from the energetic into your life. If you are familiar with the law of attraction or the movie and the book The Secret, those are talking about manifestation, and that's exactly the same thing. If you want to manifest something in your life, whether that is a new job, a bigger income, more health, love, more happiness, prosperity, whatever you want to attract into your life, you are bringing to you from the energetic realm to you. Because if it was already in the physical, you'd have it. And so it has to start on the level of imagination so that it can become an idea in your head, so that you can energize it with your emotions, so that you can bring it into the physical. It has to come through that bridge, which means we need to make sure we have a container set up to hold that energy as we bring it down, lest it leak all over the place and we lose it. And we want to make sure we're doing it safely without allowing it to be impacted by outside influences. And so tiling the temple is about energetic boundaries. So a reminder, there's the physical realm. This is where you have your physical self and all the things you can experience through your sense of sight, smell, taste, touch, and feel. This is the world we interact with on a daily basis, and is the one that we can touch and interact with. Then, of course, you have your emotional self. This is associated with your unconscious mind. This is the part of you that's picking up on all that data, that's filtering all that information around you through your reticular activating system to create your own unique experience. And remember that if you haven't done work on the emotional level, all that information coming through to you is going to be filtered through your fears, your traumas, and your limiting beliefs. You'll remember that there is a mental realm. This is the one associated with your conscious mind. This is our thinky part, the one that's aware of all the information that has already been filtered. Its only sense of reality is filtered information. And so it's basically making it up as it goes along with its very best guess based on the information that it was able to pick up on after being filtered through your unconscious mind. Then, of course, there's the spiritual realm, the energetic realm, the place of imagination and manifestation and endless quantum possibilities. This is where we get to exist in that quantum field of potentiality that we get to collapse just by observing, just by putting our attention and our intention and focus on it. So tiling the temple is a way to get that stuff out of the energetic realm and bring it down through your bridge in a way that allows you to keep most of that energy intact. Think of it like trying to carry some water in a bucket. The more holes in that bucket, the less water you actually bring down. Tiling the temple ensures that your bucket is solid, and so the maximum amount of that energy gets to you. So I want to remind you that your mental and your emotional realms are the bridge that allows that energy to come through you, through your neurology, and into the physical world. Why is this important? It's important because when you first begin to do these techniques from the energetic realm, the first stop is the mental realm, your thinky, filtered self. And so in the beginning, using this technique is going to be very much a mental exercise because you're going to be thinking about it. You're going to be thinking, okay, what's the next step? What do I have to do? Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? We must move through this space to get to the emotional realm, to bring it through into the physical, which means that in the beginning, you may not feel the effects of this technique because you're too busy thinking it. And over time, as you move through that mental realm and build that bridge, that is when the feelings start to come in. So repetition truly is the key to bring it down. Last time, we talked about sacred geometry and how it is the symbolic representation of the mathematical language of the universe. And since we're going to be working with these three basic shapes today for the tiling with temple technique, I want to do a quick review of the three basic shapes. There's the mystical circle, the symbol of ineffable oneness, symbolic of all potential, all possibility, all opportunity. Now, if we look at the circle mathematically, the ratio of the diameter to its circumference, otherwise known as pi, is what in math is called an irrational number because it never resolves itself. What that means is it goes on infinitely. I read a report that there's a gentleman in, I believe, India who can recite pi up to the 70,000th number by memorization. I also heard about an experiment where they got a computer to calculate pi to the 22 trillionth decimal place. And so when we look at the ratio of the diameter to the circumference, the diameter being the length of the circle from the middle to the edges, and the circumference being a measurement of around the outside of the circle. The ratio of these two numbers, pi, 3.14, goes on infinitely. And so even on the mathematical level, the circle represents infinite possibility, infinite space, infinite opportunity. It is that quantum field that we get to collapse through our intention. You'll remember the mystical triangle. This is where we start to take all that potential, all that possibility, and begin to collapse it into our awareness using our three eyes. Our intention, which anchors the desire, our intuition, which is our guiding light to know which way to face, and our imagination, the visualization muscles that we use to begin to aim that energy in the direction of our choosing. Now remember, and this is important, if your intuition, if your emotional realm is being clogged up and bogged down by limiting beliefs, by traumas, by fears, then your triangle is going to end up kind of tipped in a direction you may not want to go. And so the triangle also represents balance, two opposing forces, and one point of balance in between. Now, in our physical world, we actually use the mystical triangle in a process called triangulation. And here's a reminder of what that is. So let's say you are a forest ranger and you have to look after a vast area of forest from one little perch, and in the distance you see smoke. And you know there's a fire somewhere, but you only have a single line of sight to it, so you don't really know where on that line of sight it actually exists. In order to be able to pinpoint where that fire is taking place, you need a second point. And so you radio over to your buddy in Tower B and you say, hey, do you see the smoke? And they, of course, do. And then you both map from your own locations towards that direction that you're viewing the smoke, and where those two lines cross at that third point, that's where the fire is. This process is used in navigation, it's used by forest rangers. The mystical triangle takes two unrelated points and moves them in a direction to create a new point, a third point. And in that way, we start to give these two places movement, change, growth. This is where that energy comes from to move you to your goal. And so the triangle is really important. Now, once we have collapsed that infinite field of possibility that existed in our circle, and we're moving it where we want to with our mystical triangle, we need to now anchor it down into our physical reality so we, with our human neurology, can actually access it. And that's where we come to the mystical square. The square begins to anchor all that energy that you have created to bring it through that bridge into the physical realm. every tradition honors the four directions in some way, whether they call it the directions north, east, west, south, whether it's elemental, water, air, fire, or earth, whether it's archangels. Every tradition, esoteric and exoteric, there's always some representation of four. And these are known as the four powers: to know, to will, to dare, and to keep silent. Now, to know, this is your intuition. This is your guiding light, your compass, so that you know where to aim. To will, this is your intention. This is that thing that you want to bring towards you, that you're aiming towards. And to dare, to have the courage to use your imagination. It is really easy to imagine the worst case scenario, to imagine disaster and catastrophe and humiliation. That's so easy. It takes courage. It takes daring to use your imagination to fuel your highest, greatest potential of who you are. And so to dare is about having that courage to aim in the direction you want to go, not in the direction that you fear. And to keep silent. This is the one that trips us up. This has nothing to do with keeping secrets. This is about holding energy, holding that power. It is said that when we are speaking, we are not listening. And so to be silent is about staying in stillness so that you can receive that message. That's kind of the goal of meditation, isn't it? To find that space, to find that zen, to find that stillness, so you can finally hear the whispers of the universe. To be silent is important. We need that in order to anchor what we desire, what we have imagined, and what we are aiming towards into the physical realm. We must be open to receiving it. This is why an element of solitude is a part of every healing journey. Now remember, it is your emotions that energize your thoughts. So you want to use your imagination to tap into your emotions so that you can energize your intention and create that mystical triangle of growth and change and movement in your life. Now, when beginning to work with your imagination, there's only one rule you need to follow. Breathe in to choose it, breathe out to use it. If you allow your imagination to follow your breath, this process becomes so much easier. So breathe in to choose it and breathe out to use it. And don't worry, you'll get a chance to experience this. Now, the first step to tiling the temple is to initiate what I call circular breathing. This is where you want to imagine that you are taking that breath in through the top of your head and breathing out through the bottoms of your feet into the earth. Now, this is all about intention. Obviously, you don't have a blowhole on the top of your head, and there's nothing at the bottom of your feet that you can exhale through. And if you intend to breathe in through the top of your head and breathe out through the bottoms of your feet, I promise you'll notice a difference in your body. There is a different meta K associated with this type of breathing. So give yourself permission to tune in and notice that. So you're going to initiate circular breathing in through the top of your head, out through the bottoms of your feet where it goes into the earth, gets cleansed and comes back up around you and back into the top of your head. It is creating a sacred geometry shape around you known as the torus, T-O-R-U-S, not Taurus like the bull from the zodiac. You may also recognize this shape as the shape of a magnetic field, which the earth has, which you have. You may remember way back from science class that when electricity moves, it creates a magnetic field. Well, when energy in our body moves, and energy in motion is emotion, it creates a magnetic field. It creates a torus of energy around us. And so by initiating circular breathing, you are activating the shape around us, sending that air down into the earth to be cleansed, allowing it to move up around you and back into the top of your head, creates this beautiful sacred geometry around you and strengthens your energetic field, aka your energetic boundaries. I like to imagine myself in a beautiful bubble of light when I do this, because I know that in that space I have absolute power, absolute control. That is my space. And setting the intention of claiming that as your space and protecting it in this beautiful bubble of light sends a very powerful message to the universe and creates a very unique, positive meta-K in your body. And so feel free to imagine that as well. Okay, so let's get down to the brass tacks. How do you tile the temple? Step 1, you're going to initiate that circular breathing until you feel something shift in your body, until you notice your meta K. It may be subtle, it may be profound. You might feel tingling, warm, cold, or just a subtle little shift of, I guess I feel different. That's okay. Remember, it has to move through the mental to get into the emotional. So you're going to initiate that circular breathing. Then you're going to allow yourself to notice a blue-white sphere of light just above your head. And this is, of course, where you get to activate your imagination. If you intend to imagine a blue sphere, then you will imagine a blue sphere. That doesn't necessarily mean that you will see it yet. Remember that using your imagination doesn't have to only be a visual process. If I were to say to you, imagine a rose, you may visualize a rose. You may imagine the smell of a rose or the feel of its petals. You may imagine the song The Rose from Bette Midler. All of these are perfectly fine imaginings of rose. And so when you set your intention and imagine this blue sphere of light, allow yourself to use whatever sense is natural for you in the moment. Once you imagine that blue sphere of light above your head, you're going to breathe in to choose it and breathe out to use it. And as you breathe out, you're going to imagine that sphere snapping around the entire room, all the way around you, above your head and below, underneath your feet, into the earth. You may hear a sound, you might get a feeling, you might visualize something, or you may just say to yourself, I'm snapping it around the room. Again, however you imagine this process is perfect. Once you can sense a shift in your body, once you have a meta K of, I'm pretty sure I've got my circle up, then you're going to allow yourself to notice 4 beautiful pillars of light just up above your head in each of the cardinal directions. Now, if you're not certain what direction to face, you can either take your best guess, of course, it's all about intention, or you can use an app on your phone like a compass that allows you to notice which direction to go in. Either one's completely fine. So you're going to notice these beautiful pillars of light up above your head in the 4 cardinal directions, and you're going to breathe in to choose it, and as you breathe out, you will use it and imagine those pillars of light descending down from above into the earth in the 4 cardinal directions and locking into the circumference of your circle. So now you have your circle, and it's anchored by your 4 pillars of light. And I like to actually imagine like a deep rumble as they vibrate down into the earth. Now, at this point, your Meta-K might be one of expansiveness from the circle and solid groundedness from the square. Don't be surprised if you actually feel heavier or more solid after you bring these pillars of light down. That Meta-K is your way of noticing this shift. Now, the final step of tiling the temple is to imagine above your head a beautiful golden pyramid of light and allow it to descend down around you, locking into the 4 corners, because of course the base of a pyramid is a square. So it's going to lock into the pillars of light inside your circle, creating a beautiful sacred geometry. And that's it. That is tiling the temple. So a bit of troubleshooting to help you along. Ensure that your sphere is above your head, usually about 18 to 24 inches above your head, and also goes down into the earth under your feet, also around 2 feet down. Now, when working with these sacred geometries, you only want to bring down the pyramid of light when you're ready to do the work, as we like to call it, the meditation that you want to do, the candle work that you want to do, the journaling that you want to do, the manifestation, the visualization. Once you bring down that pyramid, you are connected to the energetic realm. So don't be surprised if you notice a shift in your body. A lot of people feel very, very warm or very, very cold once that pyramid is down. And if you're not feeling that yet, that's okay. It just means you're still moving through your mental bridge. If you are working on a book or a new idea or a new project or wanting a new job that you want to manifest or attracting love into your life or anything of that nature, that is what we consider the work. While you're actively doing something, brainstorming something, manifesting something, that is when you want to have the pyramid down around you because it connects you up to the energetic realm in a very profound way. And it can be quite intense, so you want to use this in limited amounts of time. Once you are done doing whatever you're doing, just allow the pyramid to blend down into the earth, all the way down, just dissolving down into the earth. You can also imagine it rising back up into the sky. Either option is completely fine. And then you also want to allow the pillars to go as well. And we do this by saying the sentence, stay if you will, go if you must. And you can always feel free to allow that circle to stay up because it's always great to have that extra level of protection and to stay in that field of possibility. Now, some key concepts to remember. Tiling the temple is an important technique and is meant to be the precursor to any kind of energetic work. whether you call that meditation, whether you call that yoga, anything that connects you to the energetic realm, even brainstorming a new idea, must take place in a container that allows you to bring it down safely and without having your bucket leak everywhere. And so tiling the temple is meant to be that first step. Remember that in the beginning, this is moving from the energetic realm through your mental self, through your thinking place as you learn this new technique. And so don't be surprised in the beginning if you don't quite feel anything. The more you do it, the more you engage with it on the mental realm, the more you will bring that energy through into the emotional realm, and that's when you begin to feel it. And that's okay. And remember, of course, that patience is the key. Give yourself permission to kind of suck at this at first. Give yourself permission to have doubts and concerns and not really be sure if you're doing it right. That's all perfectly fine. Just remember, breathe in to choose it, breathe out to use it, and you'll be fine. As always, I want to remind you to decide you want it more than you're afraid of it. It's okay for this to feel a little feely. Just decide you want it more than you're afraid of it, and everything will always work out okay. And of course, I want to thank you so much for joining me and remind you that if you have any questions or need any type of support, please feel free to reach out to me through my website at www.livelifeunbroken.com or through email or social media. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.